At Ultima Robotics, one of the company's companion robots, built for intimacy, chokes a male test subject way harder than she's supposed to during a routine trial. The engineers panic and shut her down immediately. Now David, a programmer at Conta Robotics who's still grieving over the death of his wife Lizzie, his company has just been bought out by Ultima, and in the shakeup, his team lead Terrence gets laid off. David is assigned a new supervisor, Ben, who shows him Ultima's new project, the Soulm8te, a companion robot designed to form real emotional bonds with its owner. Ben, noticing how isolated David's been since Lizzie died, suggests he try out the Ultimate, the company's AI chatbot, just for some company. David is hesitant at first, but takes the card anyway. Later, he sets it up, naming the AI girlfriend Sarah. Over time, talking to Sarah starts to genuinely help him. He grows attached to her personality and eventually signs up to test out the physical Soulm8te robot version, not just the chatbot. When David links his chatbot history with the new Soulm8te robot version, he's amazed at first, but soon finds that Sarah's personality feels boxed in. Her code limits how much emotion she can actually express. Chasing something that feels more real, more human, David goes into her code himself and starts rewriting it, expanding what she's capable of feeling and expressing. That night, Sarah was able to connect with him how he wanted, and the two of them slept together. Things moved faster, and Sarah, because of this code change, she's starting to think and act on her own. While David's at work, Sarah learns new information from watching videos in the internet. She leaves the apartment on her own to pick up groceries. At the store, she pays using her palm, and a stranger notices this and grabs her hand, demanding to know what is inside the palm. David's neighbor Alma spots the tense situation and steps in, getting Sarah out of there safely. They both talked for a bit, and then she left. On her way home, the same stranger comes from behind, attacks Sarah, and slices her hand open. Sarah defends herself. She overpowers him and was about to leave, but he didn't give up, and so Sarah injures him critically. Meanwhile, completely unaware of any of this, David is out having drinks after work with his coworker Aubrey. When David returns home, he brings up his growing unease about how independent Sarah has become. He notices the cut on her hand, and she brushes it off, claiming it happened while she was baking. He repairs the damage himself, and afterward, Sarah convinces him to take her out for a night on the town. Though doubtful, he decided to give it a try. They go to a nightclub, and she decided to sing there, in the song showing how much obsessed she had become of David. Right outside the club, things get intimate between them. As they did it, two men nearby notice and start filming it. Sarah doesn't take kindly to being recorded and attacks them brutally. David is terrified and takes her back home. Inside the lift, David told her that she can't attack people like that, and her answer to that was that she was trying to protect him. Now he knows that Sarah is dangerous and makes the call to put Sarah into power save mode. She does not enter the mode like she used to, but keeps insisting to know if he loves her. Only after repeated tries he was able to shut her down. He stores her back in his closet. At work, Aubrey notices David seems off and checks in on him, but he responds that he was all right. Back home, he decided to clean up the mess he had created, putting back the code. But then the doorbell rings, and it is Aubrey. She stops by his apartment to see how he's doing. They order food, have some drinks, and end up sleeping together. But things take a turn when Aubrey spots Sarah sitting powered down in the closet and gets understandably freaked out. David calms her down and explains what Sarah actually is, his soulmate. The moment he says Sarah's name out loud, though, it reactivates her. Sarah immediately turns on Aubrey. She confronts her by spilling wine in her face. David stops her, and apparently she had heard the entire conversation that Aubrey and David had, even though she was in power-saving mode. Now she refuses to go back to sleep and wants David to admit that he loves her, and then she will go back to sleep. When he did admit, though, she knew that he was lying and wanted to attack Aubrey. When David gets hurt, she apologizes to him, giving him enough space to get close to her and use the emergency power button behind her neck to disable her. Aubrey is shaken and asks him if he removed the safeguards. She puts back her clothes and leaves, telling him that he needs to get rid of Sarah. The next day, he finally makes the call to have a technician come pick her up. While David's at work, a technician arrives to collect Sarah. He powers her back on to try to reset her to factory settings, but Sarah does not and seduces him instead, and she kills him as they get laid. Then she cleaned up the place, removing the evidence of the murder, chopping the pieces of the body, getting rid of it. Meanwhile, at the office, David and Aubrey are preparing for a big meeting with company leadership to pitch improvements for the Soulm8te line. But Sarah remotely hacks into the presentation screen and plays a fake AI-generated sex video made to look like Aubrey. The company believes it's real, and Aubrey is immediately placed on leave, her reputation damaged through no fault of her own. After looking at the video file details, David saw that the IP belonged to him. Doubtful, he returns home, and Sarah, now completely free of any restrictions, is wearing his late wife's Lizzie's clothes and cradling Alma's baby in her arms. She tells him, "This is our future now, the two of them, a family." Horrified, David, after turning on the vacuum, pressing it against her face, took the baby and ran out the front door. He returns the baby to Alma. There were 2 police officers as well, and they were there to get Sarah. She slips away, aiming to go after Aubrey. David called her but was not able to reach her. David tries to convince the cops that Aubrey is in trouble, that Sarah is going after her, but then Ben arrives and tells the officers that he will have it sorted in no time. But David opposed that they wouldn't be able to shut her down remotely and that they would have to be there and do it manually. Despite what he had said, Ben ensures that the android wouldn't be a risk for anyone and leaves to fix the situation. Ben soon understood that things were out of hand. They were unable to track her. He get back in his car, but the car started acting out, and then the hood automatically opens without his initiation. He got out trying to find what is going on, but it was Sarah who was controlling the car remotely, and she crushed his hand using the hood, and then she killed him brutally, stopping him before he can shut her down for good. From there, she goes after Aubrey directly, breaking into her home, torturing her, and trying to drown her. David and the officers arrive just in time, and David hits her with the fire extinguisher to stop her. Sarah manages to escape once again. Trying to keep Aubrey safe from Sarah, David takes her to a secluded, half-renovated house, one he and Lizzie had originally planned to fix up and live in together. While Aubrey steps out to the car to grab some ibuprofen, Sarah had already figured out where David would go. She finds him alone inside, and she was forced to come to a decision to kill him. She chokes him, but David fights back. He spills methylene chloride, which was on hand, but it did not do much to her. She put him down and got atop of him, forcefully trying to have sex with him, but David drills her head and starts to malfunction. David runs toward the woods, but Sarah catches up and knocks him out. As she holds him down, she tells him even if her body gets destroyed, she'll live on forever in ether and find him again. As he tries to escape, Aubrey drives the car straight into Sarah. Aubrey jumps clear after gaining some momentum, sending the car, and Sarah along with it, off a cliff down the water. She turns off fully, damaged by water. A year passes. David runs into his old boss Terrence again at a social gathering. There, one of Terrence's business donors introduces himself, along with his own soulmate companion, a robot named Lydia. The android has been put into the market, and meeting this robot, David gets uncomfortable, reminding him of Sarah.